Hello, my nudes. How's it going? I hope you're having a fun time. I've got a special video for you. Today, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the film masterpiece that is Jaws. And while Left Shark might be a forgotten memory for a lot of you, and a certain young shark is, no, don't even think about it. Gladly forgotten, the OG of sharks still remains as loved as it was 50 years ago when it first hit cinema screens. So come along with me, put on a terrible hat just like Harry, and let's dive into the games that Jaws inspired. When Jaws was released in 1975, a new phenomenon was born, the summer blockbuster. Although weirdly, the film wasn't released in the UK until December, and I'm not sure people trudging through the snow to get to the pictures would have fully appreciated a film that was set over the 4th of July weekend. But anyway, I digress. And despite what you might think, I'm not quite old enough to have watched Jaws at the cinema, but one of my earliest memories is of watching the film on TV with my parents. I remember the part where Jaws mounts the orca and Quint slowly slips towards the shark's gaping mouth before he gets chomped on. I was only about 5 at the time. Needless to say that my parents were quite liberal with what they let me watch despite my young age. I remember being so scared of Jaws that I thought the shark was going to come up and eat me through my floor as it was covered in blue carpet that reminded me of the sea. I could only cross the carpet if I put things down to form stepping stones. This went on for quite a while. To get me over my fear, my parents bought me some Jaws toys. I had the orca ship, Jaws, and a figure in scuba gear which I think was Matt Hooper. Man, I wish I had those now. They would be worth an absolute fortune. While Jaws was an excellent film, and it quite rightly won 3 Oscars, the 3 sequels it spawned were of mixed quality, and that's putting it politely. And the same thing went for the games that the franchise inspired. While Jaws itself was released before home gaming was mainstream, arcades were becoming popular, and so an unlicensed movie tie-in was released by Atari in 1975 called Shark Jaws. I couldn't get the copy I found to work, but to be honest, we're not missing out on much. Classic Gamer 74 here on YouTube has uploaded some footage for us to check out. Now, I know this is from 1978, and I don't want to be too harsh, but I couldn't see me dropping any money on this game at all. Give me Pong any day. I'll leave a link to Classic Gamer 74's channel and his video in the description below, so you can check out his wide variety of retro games content. Jaws wouldn't get an official game release until 1987's DOS version. Now, I've looked for a manual for this game and I can't find one anywhere, so while I can get it to run, I don't have a Scooby what I'm meant to do. So here's the gameplay I managed to capture. And I'm sorry for it being so slow, but this is literally how fast the cursor is moving around the screen. Maybe this is how they increased playtime back in the 80s. As you can tell, the DOS gameplay was a bit naff to say the least, and I'm not quite sure when the shark or any fish for that matter are supposed to pop up. I've played it a few times, and all that seems to happen is that I pootle around and then run out of fuel. So if you have any tips for this game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll give it another go. During the mid-1980s, the Jaws film franchise was very much still alive, with Jaws 2 being released in '78, Jaws 3D coming out in '83, and Jaws 4 The Revenge being released in 1987. So when consoles started to roll out to a wide audience from the mid-1980s, it was obvious that Jaws would get a port over to the NES, especially with the release of Jaws 4. Jaws was still seemingly alive and swimming, despite the awful reviews for Jaws 4, and the home video market was breathing life into all of the films. With this in mind, it wasn't a surprise that Jaws got a refresh in 1989 for the Commodore 64, Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Atari ST and MSX platforms. So let's jump into the Commodore 64 version and see what's going on. Well, I have no idea what was going on there. There were things that I thought you should be able to kill but couldn't. Things that I thought would kill me and they didn't. I've no idea what would have happened if I didn't have unlimited lives and air. But that's part of the course with an old C64 game. I guess to progress the game we need to kill the shark, but that seems to be rather difficult given the terrible controls and the fact, yet again, as normal, I had no idea what I was doing. There was a bit of a gap with Jaws games, but in 2001 the franchise resurfaced once more when it was included in the Universal Studios Theme Parks Adventure game. This was only available on the Nintendo GameCube, so the audience was limited. It was also hampered by bad reviews calling the gameplay boring, and it was rated 78th on UGO's list of worst games of all time. But is it that bad? Universal Studios Theme Parks Adventure was actually quite fun. Once you finally got to an attraction to play, that is. There's a lot of running around, which is why I think the review is called game boring.
Do you want to enter Jaws? I heard some frightening news. The ships that sail by here are frequently attacked by Jaws. If you see Jaws, stop him before he sinks the ship. Keep Jaws away at all costs. Use the control stick to walk around the deck. Press the A button to pick up an item on the ship and throw it at Jaws. You can use what you've picked up by pressing the B button. If you're about to fall off the boat, push the A button repeatedly to get back on the deck. Stop Jaws before he sinks the ship.
It also doesn't help that the instructions you get from the Woody the Woodpecker character are inaccurate. It says you need to press A to pick up a barrel, B to throw it, and then to smash A to get back on the boat if you're falling off. But you don't need to use the B button at all. You use A to pick up a barrel or crate, A to throw the barrel or crate, and A to get back on the ship. Once I figured that out, it was actually quite fun. My one gripe would be that as this game is aimed at kids, it's a little bit scary. You've got a shark mouth coming at you, at one point you're in the shark mouth. It's not really kid friendly, although I don't know how you would make a quote unquote cozy Jaws game. I do think I'll take another look at the Universal Studios game just to see what the other attractions are like. Covers a few other properties such as Jurassic Park, so it might be quite fun. Let me know if that's something you'd like a full playthrough of. While consoles and home computer technology was advancing in leaps and bounds, the Jaws franchise seems to have been forgotten. That is until 2006 when it was reborn with the game title Jaws Unleashed. Available for the Xbox, PlayStation 2 and Windows, this was the first game where you played from the point of view of the shark rather than a shark hunter. The game sold over 250,000 copies. So let's have a quick look at the PlayStation 2 version.
Welcome to Amity Island. This year promises to be better than ever. Seal Island continues to be a great attraction, especially with a recent increase in its population. And new partnerships with corporations such as Environ Plus will allow us to open our doors to even more visitors.
So my thoughts? This game is terrible. I mean, not the game itself. The graphics are great. I'm sure it's fine. But it's so uncontrollable, it's laughable. The PlayStation 2 and Xbox controllers had dual joysticks, as well as a separate D-pad. But controlling the shark is pretty much limited to the left stick. This makes my brain, that's used to modern PC gaming, want to escape through my ears. The movement that I think should be happening isn't, and you can't fully configure the buttons so they make sense. So the movement is just confusing, if not impossible. I did like the shark's eye view mode, but I still couldn't move in a way that would enable me to play the game properly, so it was kind of wasted, which is a shame. I think part of the problem is that the developer was making this game for the PlayStation, Xbox and PC, which meant they had to take a lot of control interfaces into account, and they just failed miserably at it, so I was just left going around in circles. Maybe I'll try again when I feel like I have some spare sanity to lose. The franchise was kept afloat by a further game release, Jaws: Ultimate Predator, which was distributed for the Nintendo Wii and 3DS. Again, you play from the point of view of a shark and have to eat your way through a variety of environments, such as the iconic Amity Island and even the Great Barrier Reef. I don't know even where to begin with this one. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with the 3DS. I haven't played a 3DS game before, but this game is... I don't know how to describe it, because I just simply couldn't play it. And when I did get the controller mapped, or I thought I had, I could only turn left. And I'm sure you will agree, that's a bit of a problem for an alleged apex predator. I also have no idea why they thought a game like this would work on a platform with such a small screen. I did also try the Wii version, and the control interface was just as bad. But it has one advantage over the 3DS version, which is, let's call it an interesting introduction sequence. Let's check it out.
400 million years ago, before man was born, before dinosaurs roamed the earth. Sharks ruled the seas. Today, there are over 400 species of sharks living in our oceans. Among them, the great white is considered the most dangerous predator. One great white is feared more than all the rest.
Welcome to the 24th Annual Global Oceanography Conference. It brings me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker today, world-renowned oceanographer and paleontologist and CEO of PaleoCo, the world's largest non-profit organization dedicated to our oceans, Dr. Jeremiah Batstone.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, my fellow ocean-loving scientists. I'm here today because we are at a critical crossroad in our history, when protecting our oceans is no longer just about coral reef conservation and saving the whales, but about saving our very planet, and therefore the human race itself. In order to answer this call of history, we at PaleoCo are proud to announce our latest and most ambitious initiative to date, Project Ocean Intervention. Thanks to the support of our patrons, and the unprecedented cooperation of both the public and private sectors, we will be starting a global research program that will finally uncover the real impact of human industrialization on our oceans, and help us find ways to preserve our planet in the process.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get any further into this randomness as I can't hook my Wii up to my PC at the moment. Well, I probably could if I spent time doing it, but for the purposes of this video, I'm sorry. It's a no from me. Maybe sometime in the future. The last official Jaws tie-in was 2019's Jaws.io game, which was released on iOS and Android. I couldn't get any gameplay because unfortunately the servers were only up for around 6 months, but the trailer still lives on. Looking at it, I'm not surprised that Jaws.io has joined Quint at the bottom of Davy Jones' locker. Why is the game in portrait only mode for starters? It's 2019, and seemingly all you have to do is collect items, so it's hardly the most engaging of games. But more of that issue in a minute. The shark game genre isn't dead though. While there hasn't been an official Jaws game recently, the various Jaws games that were released have inspired a slew of imitators, which, much like the films, have varying quality. First up we have Shark Rage, where you're a shark that seems to live in a swimming pool for some reason at a beach resort, and he loves to chomp on people lounging by the pool. This is a ridiculously fun game, if a little button smashy. Then we have Hungry Shark Evolution, where you swim around, eating other fish, trying to get bigger and badder. This one's okay, but it is a bit repetitive. Up next, we have Shark Universe. Again, you float around chomping on things. But this game has a bit of a more defined point system that enables you to improve specific aspects of your fishy friend. And finally, among the various shark games I chose to look at is Shark Evolution. This is a weird one as you need to eat your own shark poo while waiting for random crates to drop. Once the crate is dropped, you can bust it open to reveal another shark. You can then combine the sharks in order to evolve your shark species in some weird and wonderful ways. This one is most definitely aimed at a younger audience, if you couldn't tell that already from the amount of poop floating around. But after all of the games that we've looked at, it would be remiss of me not to take a peek at perhaps the most famous successor to all of the Jaws-inspired games, 2020's Maneater. It's available across most platforms. You start off as a baby shark. No, stop that right now. Thank you. In Maneater, you play as a shark pup who has to swim through various levels, eating as much as possible so you can grow and evolve. I must admit, I got this on Steam when it first came out, and I should have noticed the limited controller compatibility warning. I was strictly a controller player at the time. The game was virtually unplayable with a controller. Half the controls weren't mapped, so you still needed to use a keyboard for some functions, and other controls didn't work as they were supposed to. I think I managed 20 minutes of gameplay before I gave up and refunded it, but it was recently available as one of Epic Games' freebies, and, as regular viewers will know, I never turned down a freebie, so I thought it was a perfect time to give it another go. This time I was actually able to complete the tutorial using mouse and keyboard. What a result! I also tried playing with the controller again, and while it's easier to control the shark in certain situations, the gameplay really does work better using the mouse and keyboard, although the controls are still a bit unintuitive. The gameplay is quite fun, if a little repetitive, but I have to admit I'm finding it difficult to figure out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. One thing I would have liked to have seen is a separate mode outside of the campaign that allows you just to go on a beach rampage if you fancy a little light shark versus human carnage before tea time. What do you think of all the Jaws games? Have you played any of them? If so, what was your favourite? And did I miss any? Let me know in the comments below. I think my favourite was actually Shark Rage, as it's really quite unhinged. The only problem is that there are some major clipping issues. I got stuck in a wall a couple of times. And there are also lots of ads. Or I guess that's to be expected for a free-to-play mobile game these days. Jaws is up there as one of my favourite movies of all time. And it's brought so much to cinema in terms of filmmaking techniques, storytelling, editing, and music. Its impact will filter down to new films for another 50 years at least. I really don't think that Jaws could ever be topped. Sure, other franchises have tried, such as the Deep Blue Sea trilogy, the Mega Meg 2, and a myriad of straight-to-video terrible knockoffs. I'm looking at you at 3, 5, and 6-headed shark attack films. But I really think that Jaws is a one-of-a-kind film that came at just the right time with the right cast and the right crew. It's just a shame that games, while born from the thrilling depths of their cinematic predecessor, haven't quite lived up to their inspiration. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit different to the Let's Plays that I usually publish, but I really wanted to mark the 50th anniversary of Jaws, a film I absolutely adore. Let me know your thoughts on Jaws. If you were the mayor, would you have shut the beach right away? If you were a Quint, would you have kicked the shark in the face instead of being eaten so easily? Drop me a comment below and let me know if there are any other movie tie-ins that you'd like me to take a look into. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot if you do, and it helps get the video out to more people. And until next time, my nudes, we're gonna need a bigger boat.